Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and I want to share a card with you that we made recently at Club. So I had an idea. I wanted to do a card that would be for Father's Day, just in case someone wanted to use it. But this is also a pretty versatile card because you can use it for other holidays as well. So if you have male birthday, nephew, grandson, son, pretty much anything, you could kind of wing this one out. So this is the card I created, and actually I'm going to tell you a funny story about this one. So I saw the idea for this using the World of Good DSP, and that's retired several years ago. But I knew that I had all of this baseball themed DSP left over, and I'm going to show you where that's from. So I have actually another idea to share with you as well. So this is going to be retiring really soon. This is Hey Sports Fan. This is on the retirement list. And then I actually combined it, because I don't own the stamp set, with Home and Garden. And this has some really great stamps and dies. And I really like this because of the font for the Happy Father's Day and the birthday wishes. So it's got a lot of versatility in it. This is another one that is also going to be retiring. But I have one other one to show you when we're finished. And this card is pretty versatile because, again, you can use it for multiple holidays. So another one just to bring in is a grandkid. This actually will be carrying over to the new, or actually I should say it is in the new catalog. So you could also do this for a grandson or a granddaughter. And if you wanted to, you could even go to an amazing son or to an extraordinary daughter if you wanted to do it for them sports-wise as well. So there's one other thing you could do. You could also even go with best grandkid ever if you wanted to do something like that, if you were kind of doing neutral. So there's that. Now, one other thing before I show you the rest of the cards, and I do have one to make for you as well, is there's a lot of stuff that is carrying over into the new catalog. So one of the cool things that you could do is you could even do this with the He's the Man DSP, which is also another really, really versatile DSP. So I plan to show you a bunch more of these in the future. I'm going to make some more cards. But the cool part about this paper, if you haven't seen it yet, is I believe it's one of the sheets. I could be wrong. Actually, it's two. Two of the sheets have punches. So all of these little sheets here on the first piece, if you'll notice from a lot of these, there are stars, there is the VW bus, there is this this kind of look like torn paper, and then you have the cheers to all the years. There's a lot of die cut pieces in here, which also really makes it super easy. Now, granted, I know you're not going to be able to order that in time for Father's Day unless you're going to do same day shipping this week or something, or I should say next day shipping, but you could also keep it on hand for your guy cards. I love the RV paper in the background, but this is another piece that you could use as well. So I'm going to show you how to make this card, and then I'm going to show you some of the other versions. So ironically, the funny part about this is I actually created this card and I glued all the pieces on this way because I'm right-handed. And then I looked at it and I was like, wow, put them all on and they're all upside down. So I ended up just turning it over and stamping my sentiment on this side. So if you do mess it up, you can certainly flip it over. I did use some adhesive foam. Now, I didn't use the adhesive sheets that we sell. I used fun foam because I wanted to put something behind this. And then I also used the coordinating ribbon, or I should say the baker's twine. So you have the red and white striped, the navy, and then the green. And I believe this is Evening Evergreen, which is another great color. So one final thing before we do make the card, I did get my holiday catalog, which is super fun. So if you have a lot of paper left over, the great part about this, you could do this for any holiday. Thanksgiving, fall, Christmas, birthday, so many things. But this is going to be coming to your mailbox soon. If you are a customer of mine, you will be getting your complimentary copy, and I will be doing a ribbon share for the holiday catalog. I do have one share left of the paper that is in the annual catalog, so I'm just going to pop here and show you really quickly. If you missed out on this, I do have one paper share, or you could do a combo, or one paper and one ribbon share. So if you're interested in that, you will get a sampling of every paper in here. I didn't do the old, I shouldn't say the old, I didn't do the new in color DSP from last year, but I did do this one. So you would get a 6x6 sample of each of these unless it comes in 4x6. So if you have any interest in that, send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. But I have this posted on my website. So if you'd like to sign up for the paper share, or I haven't decided if I was going to do a ribbon share yet. So if there is interest in that, I will do it if I get more than 2 people. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to show you what we're going to do for this card. Now, with this, you can do this either way. So you could do it as a vertical or as a horizontal card. Now I have a different layout to show you, and then I'll show you all the rest of them. So this is all I have left of this paper. It's not very much left at all, which is pretty good for my quarter share that I had. So this one is, you can see, a vertical card. So for the second one, we're going to do a horizontal card. So I chose Night of Navy as my base. So it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Piece of Poppy Parade as the second layer. This is 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of Thick Whisper White, 3 3/4 by 5. And then I just have some scraps left, okay? So I want to tell you one thing. I do have a couple different versions of this, and you can use this other sheet. So this sheet that's in the back of this is called Hey Sports Fan. It has all these little pieces, and I'll show you one other one that I did, but you can even use these. So maybe you have this paper laying around and you're going to use this as your idea for Father's Day card because you're into last minute cards like I am. You could even, if you happen to get your dad tickets or your granddad or your father figure tickets for a baseball game that's coming up, you could even cut this part out and you could write like the O's, because we're in Baltimore, and then the date and time, which would be kind of cool. So you could put this onto the front of the card. You could do one if you knew you were going to maybe get tickets to that, take me out to the ball game, and then you could say like, hey Dad, let's go to a game together, which would be pretty cool. So I'm going to show you this. Now, I believe this is retired. I'm like 99% certain. So if you have this is the banner triple punch. If not, you could certainly flag your ends with scissors. That's what most people do, but if you wanted to use it this way. The one thing that's a little bit different. So with this piece, I have 3 pieces that measure 1 inch, and then I have 2 3/4. One of them is slightly less than 3/4. When you're doing it as a horizontal card, you have to have thinner pieces because you don't have as much area to work with. So what I tend to do is just pick out some strips. I usually have a bigger one at the top and the bottom, or a wider one, a more narrow one in the middle, and then I kind of broke it up in between. Let's see, this one, go here. This is the one with the diamonds. Now I have lots of leftover pieces. So I want to pull one of these other, because I do have one more piece here. And I might have to trim this. Yeah, I'm just going to trim a small piece off of the baseball gear. Let me grab my trimmer. So we can see we don't have a whole lot of room in here with gapping. So I'm going to make a piece, I believe, that's going to be about a 1/2 inch. And again, they can all be varied sizes. I'm going to go down. I'm going to take this bottom piece instead. They can all be varied lengths. The original inspiration for this, yeah, that'll fit in there nicely. It was using a vertical card, which gives you more space, but some of them were narrow, some of them were wide. So it really just depends on what you want to do. And then again, you can also use either side. So maybe if your dad or whoever you're saying this to doesn't really like baseball, you could always use the flip side. But what I'm going to do is I'm just feeding these in and I'm just punching them, and I'm going to end up trimming the other end. So again, if you have the banner triple punch, certainly use that. If not, you can just do this with scissors. You can also do it with a square punch if you still have one of our square punches that we have. But those are just, oops, that wasn't quite far enough. Those are just a tiny bit more complicated to work with. Now, I tend to slide mine in from the front since I know what size these are, and I did muck that one up, but that's okay. The other thing you can do is if you really want to center it, so you kind of slide it in from the bottom, and then you can flip it over if you want to keep it a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. Yeah, I did that with that one too. Let's try that one more time. That's better. And I'm going to try this one. But it kind of helps you to center them a little bit better if you look from underneath. So not a whole lot of scraps for that. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just using liquid glue because it's easier. I'm going to glue the top and bottom on first. So I do want to make sure you get glue near the bottom, or the tips, I should say. And what I tend to do, I'll slide these off, is I make sure that I am lined up to the corner here. And then this piece is a little bit longer. Okay, and then I am going to also do the bottom, and then I'll fit the other ones in. Just that way it's spaced, because I do like it, and I'll show you one that I did that does not have spacing in it because I mismeasured when I did these, thinking I could fit the same amount as with the vertical card, and they don't quite fit as well. And the other thing I did, just because I was trying to be a little bit more spread out, is I didn't have two green pieces next to each other. So I'm going to put the longer one up top. And so then I'll have the shortest, and I do like the red stripes too, but the baseball stitching, I think. The baseball stitching and the umpire gear is my favorite. And then the nice part is if you use liquid glue and you need to wiggle them to adjust them so they're straight, you can still do that when you first set them down. All right, so that looks pretty good. Then all I'm going to do is flip this over, just trim off. I have a little hair of a piece here. Trim off those pieces. Pretty simple, okay? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to mount this onto my Poppy Parade layer. But honestly, you could do this with so many. Oops, look at that. Forgot to trim this one down. Whoopsie, hold on. Hold the phone. So let me move this for a second. What I'm going to do, because this does have glue all over it, so, and I do want to trim it down. So what I'm going to do to save myself a little bit of aggravation is I'm actually going to put this onto my silicone mat to just kind of absorb a little bit of that glue off. And then I'm going to put it here and trim it down. So this needs to be 5. And one of these is going to get trimmed just slightly because I thought I cut this down, but I didn't. So I'm actually going to go with the yellow piece. I'm taking this down. This should have already been cut, but I think I grabbed the wrong piece. I will need a piece for the inside, so I bet I grabbed the wrong one. So this needs to be 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to move this over, just add this back in again. So I'm just going to put some more glue. And if you do get glue on your trimmer, you can take, start with a baby wipe, but then you can take an alcohol wipe and just wipe it off, and you should be able to get most of it off. If you really have to go to work, you could also use some Goo Gone. So this is going to fit on here like this. Now, when you're doing these as a crosswise piece, you can actually add on some of these little pieces if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do, because I did trim this one, but the way I backed it on yellow, this little white piece kind of stuck out a little bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one on there. But you could pick out, that's a home run, best day ever. I think this one would kind of stick out a little bit more. So I'm going to just take my scissors and just trim this. And you can layer it onto another piece if you wanted to. And ironically, the back side of this is actually really nice because it's Night of Navy. So it's really kind of cool to back it onto. And I'm just cutting out just these little things so it kind of looks like a ticket. There you go. And then what I did is, if you wanted to, you could even back it onto that. You could back it onto a piece of white, but I'm going to just trim that down just a smidge. Yeah, I feel like this needs just a little bit of something. So I'm actually going to grab just a little scrap of white here. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to pull this out and it's not working. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a teeny bit of glue here. Oops. And pop that on. It's a little bit crooked. There we go. And I'm going to just trim right down the side just for a really narrow border. You could even put this on a wobbler too. That would be pretty fun. All right, so there's that. And while I have this out, just for the heck of it, just for giggles, if there's any blue left on this, I'm going to just sponge the edge of this just a little bit. I don't want it to be too dark, but just so it kind of sticks out against the white. That's good. Move this over. And then the other thing I did is I kept both of these mounted. So I have Happy Father's Day and I also have Birthday Wishes. I am just using Night of Navy because it's kind of simpler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Birthday Wishes. And I'm going to go this way, lengthwise. Cool. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my dimensionals. I'm just going to put 2 on the back of this. That's plenty. 1 and 2. And I'm going to put this on, but before I do that, I'm actually going to add just a little bit of adhesive. So I find that I really like the Stampin' Seal Plus just for this part to kind of hold the ribbon in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to go with the green because I haven't used that thus far. So I'm going to grab the green baker's twine and I'm going to wrap it around. And I kind of like, let me move this over. I kind of like the crisscross for some reason. I really don't know why. It doesn't really matter all that much, but so I'm going to put that on. And this. Now, you can do this one in two ways. I did add dimensionals to some of them, but it will stick without it. So I'm just going to put some liquid glue. Sorry, my glue is almost to its end game here. Make sure I have it around the edge, most specifically. Okay. Oops. Stuck that to something I didn't want to stick it to. All right, so you definitely are going to need a white panel for the inside of this. But, so birthday wishes there. And then we could do best day ever here. Let me get rid of these. You could certainly have also done the admit one if you wanted to. And then the other thing is you could always even put something like this on the inside. So I'm going to fold this. Let's give this a press with my bone folder. I normally do this ahead of time, but for some reason, every one of these cards I made, and I did make a lot of them, I have forgotten. So there is your finished card. So I'm going to show you just a few more examples. Here's the other side. It's like a navy wood grain, which is also really cool. So all right, here is that. Let me move these over so nothing gets stuck to anything. This is the very first card I made. Again, so remember, when you're doing the standing tall, so hot dog versus hamburger, ironic for ballpark cards, right? These, you can do 3 of them that they're 1 inch and then 3/4, 3/4. These you kind of have to vary. And again, you can kind of trim them off as you go if you'd like. So here are some other ones. Now, my brother's birthday is 2 days before Father's Day this year, and he also is a father. So I made him this card. He hasn't seen it yet, so hopefully he doesn't watch my videos. He won't see this until afterwards. But I did birthday wishes, and then I'm just going to do a little. And as a matter of fact, since I'm here and I have my navy marker, I'm just going to do a little and. Oops. So he will get this card. So I'll mail that out. His birthday is this Friday. And then another one I did using the red and white twine. I did one. Now this one could kind of go either direction. This is the one that I goofed because I only have one space in between here. And I did get a little glue crazy because there still is a little bit of glue there. But you could do this one sideways or upright, kind of depending on what you want to do. This is another one I did. This was the first one where I had the really thin pieces and then I added the piece that was cut out. So this one is from up top here. I'm pretty sure that was in this corner. And then I backed it with the other side here. So that one ended up being really cool. So these are the masculine version. Now, not to leave anyone out who maybe doesn't have someone to send this to, because again, I said this is a very versatile layout that you could use, and I do see myself using this for a lot of cards in the future. I only made one, but I'll show you this. This is one of my very favorite sets that's actually going to be retiring as well, very sadly. This is a beautiful bundle, artfully composed. This whole suite sadly is retiring. I loved this DSP. If you guys have watched me before, you know I love all these tropical leaves, but this is a great set to be able to make tropical cards with. So many ideas here, but this is also a really beautiful layout. Now, what I did swapping was I used the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. So you have white, vanilla, Sahara sand, crumb cake, and black. So these are really nice. So I actually just put that one in there. I did the stamping with Calypso Coral. And then I laid this, actually I have a lot of Just Jade because I really like that color. So I layered this onto a Just Jade layer and then I backed it on Evening Evergreen. So those go together really, really well. So if you happen to still have them, I really like this color combination with the coral, the evergreen, and the jade. And again, I do have a lot of jade left over, so I've still been using it because it was one of my favorite colors. The one that I'm really, really hoping isn't going to disappear is Pale Papaya. I'm hoping somehow we can bring that one into our constant colors because we do need a lighter, softer orange than what we have. But again, the Artfully composed stamp set and the whole everything, the bundle is going to be retiring. The paper, that all is going away, and that's a really beautiful stamp set. The thing I like the best about this is the fonts. Same thing with the birthday wishes, or the home and garden, I should say. I really like the fonts on a lot of these, and that kind of makes me sad when they go away, but I can still use it, and I still will, because that's why I buy stuff. I don't buy it because I think anyone else is going to buy it for me. I buy things that I like, and then I use them there. So I hope this has given you a lot of ideas. Again, we have a lot of products that are going to be retiring. They may even be on the discounted list at this point. I'm really not 100% sure, because it does update pretty regularly, because a lot of things are selling out. There are a lot of things that are also on sale. But hopefully this is giving you some ideas, and even just maybe a new layout with something that you have. I'm sure you have tons of paper if you're anything like me. And if you have any questions about my paper share or the ribbon share that's going on, please send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. If you have anything you need to buy, I would love for you to purchase from me if you are able to do that. And if not, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment here on YouTube. That's always another great way to support me. You can share this video with your friends, or just tell me what you think would be a great idea for a card to make soon. I appreciate you guys so much taking time to stop and see me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.